Okay, so I figure I better do one of these for today. Before I forget and get lazy again or something like that, I'll have to backtrack and put down some thoughts about the other 2 days when I get a chance. I went down to the store and got some of my muscle relaxant. They didn't necessarily have any of the preferred brands, but what can you expect for the Flying J here in Idaho Falls, Idaho? We'll try and keep this thing under 10 minutes so that the YouTube gods aren't angered or anything. It started out foggy today, as one of the updates said in Casper, but that actually went away fairly quickly. We only did about 20 minutes in the fog. It was a pain in the ass as usual because you're wiping your helmet, trying to get the water off of the visor and stuff like that, but other than that, it cleared right up, and the weather was great all day today. The only complaint that I might have had is just it was kind of that temperature where it was a little bit too cold for the to not have the heated jacket liner in, at least the liner, even if the heat wasn't on, but it was just a little bit too warm to have it on too, so every once in a while you just get these winds that even though the temperature was up there in the 60s, it would just kind of pierce everything and get to you a little bit. And this was even down in the lower elevations, not even up getting near Yellowstone yet. So that was an issue for today, so I was stopping a bit, getting on and off the jacket liner, trying to figure out where I was comfortable and not comfortable. The miles from Casper up to Cody actually went pretty fast. As usual, the speed limits in Wyoming are really quick, so you can get going pretty fast up there. It's 65, but I was putting up about an 80 indicated, which is more like 75 with how the GPS is clocking it out. So got to the entrance of the park fairly quick, and after that it was just incredible. I got into the park and it was one of the most beautiful things that I've seen in a long time. It made the whole trip worthwhile. All of Yellowstone Lake was just frozen over still yet. This huge lake, if you go look on the map, and most of it was still ice. It was melting around the edges and things like that, but it was just beautiful. And mountains in the background. These are the times when I wish I had a helmet cam or something like that, so I could just turn on the helmet cam and grab video footage or pictures or something of it, because it was just beautiful today out there, just wonderfully gorgeous. Hard to describe what's going on up there without actually having seen it. So I rounded the first corner in Yellowstone after I got on the entrance and bought my pass and everything like that. I decided to buy an all-access pass for the year for all the parks and national forests and such. Figure it might be useful if I decide to go anywhere else this summer while I'm back home up in the national forests or whatever. So I round the first couple corners, and right in the middle of the road, walking down in my lane, are about 5 bison just sitting there walking down the road like they, had someplace to go and they were using the road to get there. And that wasn't the only wildlife I saw out there today. I saw some ducks landing in the water. There were some either elk or caribou or something like that was up there too, and just tons of bison, believe it or not, are up there just hanging out by the side of the road, and it was great to see them up there. It was just the weirdest thing I've seen. I've seen one in a zoo, but never seen one really that's out in the wild and just sitting there ready to go. So the park was just amazing. I went up to Old Faithful to grab some gas because one of the gas stations in the park is there, and I was getting a little low on fuel. Had some troubles finding the gas station to start out with, and had to circle around a little bit. Wasn't too much of a detour, and then I didn't actually go up to the geyser itself. I just mainly hung around and rested myself up, enjoyed it, saw it, looked at it from afar. But there was just geothermal activity going on everywhere around that general area. You could see the grounds just kind of steaming, coming up from the ground. As I went down further down the road towards some of the other geysers and geothermal formations, you could actually see just torrents of warm, steamy water running down into one of the rivers there. It was just weird. It was really weird and really cool to see. So I got to the western edge of the park and got out the western side and didn't realize that I was going to get dropped into Montana and not Idaho. I had always thought that the Western Gate was in Idaho. So I spent about 10 or 15 minutes in Montana as Highway 20 crosses Montana and goes fairly quickly into Idaho. I saw the Tetons up there on one stop, and that was just gorgeous as well, just seeing the white-capped mountains. It really is up in the mountains, still mostly snowy, and snow sticking to the ground. The roads were well plowed. There wasn't any problem with traction or anything like that, but you could definitely see that there was snow still piled up at the side of the road. And in fact, near the east gate, as I was coming in, you could actually see the big howitzer that they used in that area to loosen up the avalanches and such, which is pretty cool. Other than that, there's not a whole lot more to say. I'm just chilling in for the night. I went to Flying J to get that beer, and I had a quick dinner slash breakfast material at a little local place called O'Brien's or something like that was just outside the hotel. It was decent stuff. It was, local greasy spoon kind of place. Nothing to write home about, but it was, good for what it was, what I needed it for. So on that note, don't have a whole lot more to say about today. I have a confession in that my Highway 20 trip has partially failed because I misread the signs going through Casper, and it turns out that Highway 20 for 2 or 3 miles actually branches off of the freeway there. It's signed like it's 20 business, but it actually isn't 20 business. It's the main fork of 20. So I've actually missed a couple miles of Highway 20 right in Casper, Wyoming, which kind of sucks, but oh well, you do what you can. It's, not a huge deal. So, trying to remember, there was something else that I was going to mention about what's going on. I'm kind of getting excited for the trip tomorrow because it's the last real day of riding. The ride on Sunday is really a half day. It's only from Burns to Corvallis, which is a relatively short trip, and I don't think there's going to be, it's not going to be as grueling as the days that have gone before. This is the 5th day of straight rides that are about 10 hours and over a piece, including the 13-hour day going through Iowa, which was hellish. So, really looking forward to resting my body quite a bit. Tomorrow is a relatively easy ride. It's in the way low 400s, and shouldn't take me very long just because of the speeds that should be able to go through Idaho. Idaho has a 65-mile-an-hour rural speed limit. Oregon will be where it slows down when they tank us all the way to 55, but there shouldn't be any cops out in that area, so shouldn't be able to have to slow down all that much. Well, I'm nearing the 9-minute mark, and I don't want to anger the YouTube gods, so I'm going to end this one, and maybe I'll see if I can backtrack and put down some thoughts on some of the other days that I missed.